Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. So I want to spend some time talking about these grades. We talked about Chris from Alabama's villain origin story when he kind of went off. I'm worried that is beginning for me a little bit. I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I'm trying to be rational and not emotional, but most of all, I want to be correct. And it's impossible to be correct because we don't know. And so it's, at the end of the day, you just have to have an opinion and say, this is where I'm at as an opinion. These grades came out, and I mentioned this on Packernet After Dark yesterday, and I went on a little bit of a friggin' tirade. The biggest issue that I'm having now is, I've put a lot of faith in a lot of things, and I've always trusted the team because I've trusted the process, and I trust the process. There may need to be some updating and some things that change over time. I don't really know. But it's not the process that I'm really concerned about. It's more so the adherence to the process. I'm worried if we have the right guys delivering the process. Do we have the right GM? Do we have the right coach? And again, I'm not changing anything that I've said because when I said Gutekunst was doing a good job, it was because I was looking at what he did and I said it was a good job. But as time goes on, you adjust the way you think about things. And as you look at the last several years, I can't for the life of me figure out how you could be overly happy. And this isn't entirely, I'm not going down an entirely doom and gloom thing. I like our roster. I like our team. I like a lot of the things that we have going forward. But I have this sense of existential dread in regards to, and again, it's the same thing I apply to a lot of other teams. Okay, you're in a good spot, but if the process is off, you're going to spiral down instead of up. And that ultimately is what matters. Now, the negative side, when you start laughing about other teams, is that somebody is always up. Like, you're up now, but you're going to come down. I know, but somebody else is going to be up. The Bears are doing things wrong, and so they're going to end up down. Okay, well, the Lions are going to come back, and the Vikings are going to come back. Not to mention, frickin' Tampa is going to come back, and all these teams, the 49ers will be back. They've been quiet way too long before they start frickin' coming back, although maybe they're in a similar situation where something's broken, and they've chosen not to fix it, and they should. I don't know. But again, it's just one of those things where I've obviously voiced these things relatively quietly, I think, over these weeks. Again, it all kind of started when I said, I think it's over with the Matt LaFleur thing. I like him. I respect him. I love what he's done with the team. I just think, there's something broken. And I don't think we know what it is. And most importantly, I don't think he knows what it is. And I don't really have any reason to believe. I mean, if his answer is, I don't know, let's try it again. I'm sorry, that's not the answer. There needs to be somebody. If you don't have the answer, we need to find somebody that does. And it scares the crap out of me because, again, I know it can get a lot worse. You can do a hell of a lot worse than Matt LaFleur. But at the end of the day, we're not running from the bottom. We're chasing the top. You know what I mean? And that philosophy can be dangerous if you're too adherent to the top, like, we got to the NFC Championship game and lost, fire everybody. No, you got to chill. That's not exactly how that works. But I think we've been patient. I think we've done a good job of being patient and adhering to everything. And listen, I know he's the coach, and I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on that particular side of it because it is what it is, and we have to move forward. But I'm just concerned that, as things have been spiraling down, and not everything, again, it's mostly the free agent things like Micah Parsons that have been good, a lot of everything else has been spiraling down. I still think we have a team that can win a Super Bowl. I genuinely believe that right now. Do I think we will? Of course not. I wouldn't pick anybody with any level of confidence, Seahawks or anybody else. 2 years ago, everybody would have said the Eagles for sure. Freaking Eagles, and nobody cares about them anymore. So who knows what the Seattle Seahawks are going to be next year? That's not really the point. It's more a question of, if we continue on this path, if we continue with the same hit rate, if we continue with the same philosophy of the only talent being added is in free agency, if we continue with a team that is not winning when they need to, they don't have that extra little, I don't want to say undefinable, maybe undefinable for me, because I don't know what the answer is, but if we can't find somebody that has that extra little oomph, you know what I mean? And we talked about guys like what is in New England right now. These guys that are just kind of known leaders. That's just sort of their thing. It's not really about the play calling. It's about leadership. And some guys just have that. It's scary because, maybe it doesn't translate. And if you're not a good team, all the leadership in the world isn't really going to make a difference. But again, there is this feeling of spiraling, and the spiraling seems to be accelerating. And I kind of just keep putting faith in, okay, well, as long as Gutekunst can adhere properly to the strategy, and, we put a little bit of the feeling of, the team quit because everybody got hurt, and that sucks, and it shouldn't happen, and maybe if you had a different coach, that wouldn't have happened, but it did, and if I promise you, if Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons, everybody gets hurt next year, we're not going to win next year either, regardless of the coach. So we can kind of just keep putting things off, but I feel like that's my only move anymore. It's just like making excuses, and they're all reasonable. I'm not lying about anything I'm saying, but it's just concerning that that's kind of where we're at. And again, there's just this feeling of crossing over into being kind of a joke. A lot of teams treat us that way, and I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. You know what you're talking about. Everybody who's hurt. We get Micah and Tucker and everybody back. We're going to frickin' dominate, and we probably will. But there is this sense of we've moved from, the Packers are good, but they probably won't win, to borderline irrelevancy, it's not just that people don't care because, they're just a playoff team that isn't going to win a Super Bowl. It's just genuinely we don't I keep talking the Chargers kind of thing. The Chargers are good. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Buffalo's good and people care. People will say, oh yeah, they could definitely win the Super Bowl. They got, as long as they got that freaking quarterback and everything, they could do it. Now they got a new coach and there's excitement around Buffalo, even if there's going to be a little stigma, which is what the Packers used to have, which is a good team with a stigma that you kind of chuckle about, but, for sure, they could definitely win it. They could do it. Baltimore, yeah, they got Lamar, they got da-da-da-da-da-da, there's excitement there. I don't think there's any excitement at all around Green Bay. I think that it's good maybe as opposed to, definitely very good. Good maybe is kind of the feeling. And I've pushed back against a lot of that. I think it's, stupid when you look at the health of the team. But again, it's just this kind of continual thing. And then there's things that people will laugh at the Packers about. And it's I can't really push back on that because it's true. And I don't like it, but I'm not going to just lie, and do the sort of positive fan thing where it's you just defend no matter what. So I kind of just, take it on the chin, yeah, you got us there, freaking Bears fans. They're just right about a lot more stuff, and I don't like it. And then the special teams thing happens, and it just feels like a cluster. This is a guy that needs to go, and the team won't do it. And they come out and talk about how great he is, and it sounds stupid. It sounds dumb. It does not sound like an intelligent organization. Now, maybe that's just because I'm wrong, but I don't freaking think so. And then what happens? Rich Bisaccia leaves on his own accord because he doesn't want to be here. He wants to pursue other opportunities. That doesn't feel great. You don't want me? I mean, not to be crass, But this is like I'm dating someone, right? I'm a 16-year-old kid or something. I'm not me who's married. I'm somebody else, and I'm dating someone. And everyone's like, bro, you gotta dump her. She is like a 4. I'm sorry. This ain't gonna work. Like, she is ugly. And you're like, bro, that's not very nice, man. She's got a good heart. She's really sweet. Like, it's not all about looks, bro. Like, she's got a great personality and we just get along and everything. And then she dumps me. And it's like, hold up, bro. Hold up. Now, let's just calm down here for a second. What do you mean you're dumping me? And she's like, yeah, I'd like to pursue other opportunities. Like, you got other opportunities better than me? What the hell does that say about me? You're a 4, lady. You can do better than me? What am I, a 3? You know what I mean? What do you mean you're pursuing other opportunities? Like, I got to get out of here. This place sucks. Bro, you suck. Don't sit here and tell me I suck more than you. And not only that, because they couldn't do the right thing, what does that mean for us? It means we're behind the 8 ball. And yeah, there probably weren't a ton of great special teams quarterbacks. Again, excuses. Oh, it's not that bad. Blah, 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 blah. Fine. Okay, great. But what does that mean? It means we're way behind. And we're doing interviews for special teams coordinators as our GM is at the combine looking at kickers with no input from a special teams coordinator because we don't know who we're hiring. This doesn't feel organized. This doesn't feel like and I understand it's just a thing that happened. It's like, well, what can you do? I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like things are going great. Things are not, again, I want this to be, as long as we're competent. You know what I mean? It's again, if you're playing blackjack properly, you're going to lose a lot. But ultimately, the goal is to win just enough to beat the house. And right now, we are just losing our butt at blackjack. And sometimes the cards just come out wrong. I get that. But at some point, you're like, bro, do you not know how to play blackjack? I'm thinking maybe you don't know how to play. Do you know, like, there's a chart that you're supposed to follow and everything? Have you heard of counting cards? Do you know anything about anything? Like, do you have any tricks up your sleeve, or are you just out here saying stuff? There's only 2 words you need to say. I mean, I guess there's split too, but there's a handful of words that matter in this game, and you should know them. But beyond that, you should understand some level of strategy. And I'm not feeling it, bro. So now we're behind the 8 ball, and it's kind of a jokey thing. Not that anybody's super laughing at us or anything, even though they could. There's some low-hanging fruit there, but nobody really cares. It's a special teams coordinator, right? Fine, okay. Packers got caught with their pants down. They got dumped by the ugly chick. Not great, okay? Then these freaking report cards come out, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not trying to overreact, and no, we weren't the lowest graded team. But again, my goal is not to not be the bottom 5 team. Like, I want to be a world-class organization like everybody talks about all the time. Everybody would love to work in Green Bay. It's a storied franchise, and they just do things the right way. That, if nothing else, that's what we should be. The team that does things the right way. And ultimately, good things will come to you so long as you do things the right way. This has been a long diatribe, so I guess we'll take a break here. When we come back, I want to look at how well we're doing on doing things the right way in Green Bay based on the 2025 NFL season NFLPA report cards. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Now, first of all, hilariously, exactly what I said was going to happen happened. It just happened a lot more like officially than I thought. I thought it would be like slow leaks of like, here's a grade, there's a grade. They released it and just like, boom, ESPN's like, here's the full grades and my breakdown of everything. Like, okay, it sounds, I guess that's about right. So yesterday, Kalen Kaler over at ESPN released an article, NFLPA 2026 report cards. See the results for all 32 teams. ESPN obtained the results of the NFL Player Association 2026 report cards, an annual survey that grades franchises from A+ to F-, and there are F-, none for the Packers, thankfully, but it's hilarious that it exists, on everything from ownership to treatment of families. It was based on the responses from 1,759 players, all who are on a 2025 roster at the time of the survey. Now, if we do some quick math here, that is an average of 55 players per team. So if we're wondering if that is like a pretty solid sample size of our team, yeah. It's not like 4 guys that kind of skewed everything, okay? Now, fortunately, somebody was kind enough to put this in a little chart for me here, so I don't have to just read off things, because it's different things have generally higher grades. So you might look at it and be like, oh, we got a B, that's good. It's like, no, everybody got straight A's except us, so it's actually a bad grade. There's others where it's like a B minus and it seems bad, but it's it's kind of middle of the road. First and foremost, the Green Bay Packers, who just do things the right way, they're just a first-class organization, ranked 21st on their grades. In the larger categories, as far as front office, they ranked 16th, so dead average. That's ownership and general manager. Coaches, the major thing in question, the coaching staff, 26th, one of the lowest graded coaching staffs, as graded by the players, the guys in the room. So again, when I say things like don't respect and all that kind of stuff, and everyone's like, yes, they do. Listen to the players. They say that they do it. Yes, they say so in public. But when you give them a secret ballot, our players, like our coaches, less than 25 of 32 teams. We'll get into the specifics, but we're just doing broad categories now. That sucks. In regard to our training and nutrition staff, we rank 28th. Again, I know if you're in a very injured year, people probably complain a little more, but still 28th. My expectations from a first-class organization is to at least be top 10. And while they're renovating their workout room right now, great. I look forward to the improvements next year then, I guess. That's good. I'm glad that they're doing it. It's good for these report cards so they can see where they can help things out, blah, 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 blah. I'm a little bit more pissed off about the coaches than anything, but fine. Training staff sucks. We should fire them for a second year in a row, hire all new people, and hopefully they don't suck. I don't know what to do. Facilities, which includes locker room, training room, weight room, food and dining area, and home game field. Packers rank 15th. That is the only one where we are inside the top 16, which is top half. When it comes to family and travel, which is treatment of families and team travel, we rank 20th. Overall GPA rank, again, 21st. The GM and ownership, as well as the facility, are carrying a lot of weight just to get us to 21. I mean, good Lord, 15th is our highest rank in any one category? I mean, not subcategory, I guess. These are a little bit less defined. You get grades like in school, A minus, A, B, whatever. So you don't get the exact GPA of like 3.35 type stuff. But let's go through some of these. Let's start with the front office. As far as team ownership, we got an A minus. Pretty good. That would be policy. Nobody seems to have an issue with them. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 teams were better. So let's just say we're tied for 13th. Is the teams that got A pluses and A's. General manager got a B plus. Not terrible, but again, as far as probably be easier to count teams that were worse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9th? Tied for 9th worst? All right. Well done. And then, you know what? I'm going to skip coaches, and we're going to save that because that needs its own thing. Because I'm going to I got some words about that. Training staff got a C. Go figure. Everybody was hurt, and nobody was happy. I saw a tweet from Bukowski yesterday saying he talked to a player who said that, it's kind of bigger than what I've been alluding to, at least as far as like the only excuse you can think of, in that the frustration is they treat every injury the same. It's no matter what your problem is, they kind of just put you through the same regimen, which when you're a full-time staff, boy, it wouldn't be that hard, especially since I'm assuming there's like PhDs in there to come up with very specified things. I mean, I can get some nuance, like when I'm on a diet and I'm working with AI, it's probably a bad diet, but like we're getting into the minutia here. We're talking micronutrients, we're talking minerals, getting my vitamin D on, you know what I'm talking about? Like it's a whole deal, but it's specifically toward me, the amount of things that you get for this, that, and the other. And I understand they probably do that for nutrition. I'm talking about applying that to a very specific injury, but not only that, an injury geared toward a very specific player. A hamstring injury for a 212-pound wide receiver compared to a hamstring injury for a 302-pound defensive tackle, I would think would be a very different thing in the way that you approach it. These should be tailored things for you specifically. There's going to be some similarities, got to get hydrated, get some freaking Gatorade in you, stretch you out and whatnot, but you know what I mean? At least make an effort to make it seem tailored to that person. And I'm sure that's one of just several specific complaints, but the training staff got a C grade. One team was worse, and that was the San Francisco 49ers, who were worried about the freaking EMF or the EF or some kind of radiation tearing their ACLs or something or another. That's the only team that had a worse grade. So tied for 31st with Dallas and Kansas City. Lovely. Nutrition and dietitian got a B. Certainly better than a C, no question. But let's see, Buffalo got a B minus, that's 1. Cincinnati got an F, which is freaking hilarious. What are you feeding them? Freaking oatmeal slop? Beans and rice? So that's 1, 2, 3. 3 teams that were worse than a B, 2 of which were B minuses, and then Cincinnati just, I don't know, spits in your cereal in the morning. Locker room, they gave an A. I believe that was just revamped. So hopefully we'll see something similar when it comes to the facilities and whatnot, the workout facility and everything. The weight room, I think, was the one, even though that didn't really get a terrible grade, but I guess they're revamping it. I don't know. Or training room, maybe. I hope it's a training room because that got a terrible grade. But an A for the locker room, which was just redone. So that's solid. I'm trying to see. So there's just anybody get an A plus? Tied for first, basically, with that A grade. And just a handful of teams actually had the A. Detroit, Las Vegas, and that's it. So 3 teams at the top, including the Packers. That's great. That's good. Again, we're a first-class organization. We build state-of-the-art locker rooms, right? We do a great job. And they did. We saw all the videos last year when it was like, oh, check out this cool little pull-out thing here and crazy, right? Great. Well done, Green Bay. First-class organization. Training room got a C. 1 got a C minus there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 were worse. So tied for 6th worst. Training room. Weight room got an A minus. Miami actually got an A plus on that. And there are actually 12 teams. So weight room is actually graded one of the highest of anything aside from just, strength coaches get really good grades. But the weight room and strength coaches guys love. So that one generally has high grades. I started talking, so I lost count, but it was like 12, 13 teams or something. It was a lot of teams that had A's or A pluses. Food and dining area was a B+. There are 10 A minuses or better, so they're tied for 11th. Home and game field, and this one pissed me off a little bit, is a C+. This is one where I'm looking at the players and going, bro, you need to stop being a little freaking girl about everything. Because you'll notice a trend. There are some bad fields out there, but you'll notice a trend. Anybody that plays outdoors, especially in the cold, is crying about it. In fact, compared to a lot of those teams, we got a pretty good grade. What are some of the other ones here? We got, the Giants and the Jets do legitimately play on a terrible field, and both of them got F minuses for their field conditions. But where's Buffalo here? I know Buffalo had an F. Cold outdoor stadium. Cincinnati, D-. Pittsburgh, F-, right? Cold outdoor stadiums. So all things considered, I guess I'll be happy about a C+. But what was Chicago. Chicago got an A-. Chicago doesn't even have a good field. They have a bad field. But their players were like, hell yeah, bro, we love playing here on this, the home game field. We have pride in Soldier Field. Packer fans, or Packer players, I mean, you boys need to frickin', this team is starting to annoy me. What is the problem? What do you want? You want a dome? Should we relocate to Central Florida? Should we be the Orlando Packers or the Kissimmee Packers? Would that make you happy? Oh, freaking tick me off, man. Treatment of families was a C+, which sounds terrible, but these are pretty bad grades. Across the board, a 2.6 GPA is the average. But there were still plenty that were better. Very few, I think, one A in the entire thing, and that was Las Vegas. Las Vegas actually seems to be doing a relatively good job. It's just their terrible coaching staff that dragged down their grades. They had a 4.0 GPA for their facility, A+, A, and A-. They had 4.0 for their training and nutrition staff, A and A. They had a 3.85 for their team ownership and general manager, A and A-. Also doing well in treatment of family and travel and all that. I mean, just really solid across the board here. Crappy team. Coaches suck, but, whatever. But anywho, again, a C+, not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 teams had at least a B-. So that's not great. Now, I doubt they're like smacking wives and girlfriends in the face for interrupting meetings or anything. But I don't know. They probably hear rumors of other teams' facilities and what they offer to people for childcare or whatever the case may be, and the Packers don't have that. So, cool. All right, so we're bad at that too. And then team travel is a B-. Another one that people generally hate. So a B- is better than in other categories, but still not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams. Yep, 13 teams ahead of us. So we're tied for 14th. We're not good at like anything. Trying to see, let me go back and I'll have the old AI help me out here. These GPA ranges I'm somewhat unfamiliar with. So on average, team ownership is a 3.16, which would be a B, if I'm not mistaken. I think the next one up is the trigger point. Yeah, so team ownership average is a B. We got an A-. I'll take that. General manager is a B+, and we got a B+, so we're dead average on that. Training staff average is a 3.3, dead on 3.3, so that is exactly a B+. We got a C. Nutrition dietitian, 3.33, again a B+. We got a B, so we came under in both. Locker room obviously is fantastic, and those are actually pretty bad. 2.38 average is a C+. We got an A, so that was big marks. Training room average is a 2.98. which is just under a B. We got a C. It doesn't matter. B+, we were well under. Weight room, the average is a 3.52, which is a B+. We got an A-, so heck yeah, weight room, doing great. Hopefully that's not what we're renovating. Food and dining area, 291 is a B-. We got a B+. Okay, killing it. Killing in the name of. 1.95 for home game field. Which is a C-, just under a C. We had a C+, so technically still above average. Treatment of families, 2.6 is a C+. We got a C+. We're average. 2.35 for team travel is a C+. We got a B-, so we're well above average on that one. Not good in anything, but average to above average in a lot of these. All right. Let's take a break here. What is that freaking ringing? Are you guys hearing that, or is that just me? I can't tell if it's my voice is echoing off one of these Stanley cups, if there's a ring in my headphones, if it's the microphone. It's driving me crazy. It's been the last couple days, especially when I elevate my voice. Yeah, it's there. Did you hear that? A little at the end. Freaking. We'll take a break, and I want to talk about the coaching staff because I have a lot to get off my chest here. So I need to preface this. We've had a lot of instincts, all of us. You know what? Let me freaking pause because there's one thing I said I was going to do and I didn't do. So I had somebody reach out. This is one of those things where I just keep saying things and it's like a lot of people are like, what is he? Why does he keep saying that? It's not correct. And I need to clarify here. I've talked about center a lot and the assumption that you're going to have, you got Morgan and then you got Banks and then Ryan and then Belton and then Tom. And I had somebody reach out and they're like, you know that Sean Ryan's a free agent. I'm skipping a couple steps here. I don't know what they're going to do with a lot of these different guys, but I'm assuming several things. I don't know that Banks is going to stay, but I think at this point we can assume he is. The whole point with center is maybe everybody's gone. I don't know. My assumption is Elton Jenkins is gone. My assumption is they will re-sign Sean Ryan. In fact, as maybe the leader of the anti-Sean Ryan fan club, I think we probably should. We need him here. He's our starting center. It's going to cost us 48 cents to retain him. And, I just can't see them releasing both. It's not even necessarily one or the other, because even if they did keep Elton Jenkins, I don't know how they let Sean Ryan walk, because Elton Jenkins is going to be here for like a year. He's not a long-term solution. Now, there is a scenario where maybe we go do something else in free agency. There's another name that I wanted to bring up today, but we're not going to get there, obviously, because this thing is going to take the entire episode. We'll talk about it tomorrow, a free agent that became available. It's possible we say, instead of Sean Ryan, we'll just go get that guy. It's entirely possible. But I guess that's just kind of my assumption, is that he will be our center pending somebody in the draft or something, winning in a competition against him. So for those of you that are confused as to why I keep saying that, or just think, he obviously doesn't know, I did know. I think we even talked about our pending free agents and whatnot, him being on that list. I think for a lot of free agents, I just kind of assume they're back. Most free agents get re-signed. So I guess, at least the way I treat it, and maybe I shouldn't, rather than treating them as all being gone, I treat them as all still being on our team unless we officially hear word that we will not be re-signing them, kind of a thing. And we are kind of moving along here without any deals or signings or anything. So I guess we get closer and closer to going, I don't freaking know what we're doing. All right, let's talk about the coaches. Here is the background. We've all had a lot of instincts. Matt LaFleur is not a good, leader, or however you want to phrase that. Respected or whatever. I honed that down to, I think he's probably respected in certain arenas in terms of what he does. I think he's probably liked to a degree. I don't know that he's necessarily respected as a leader in the locker room, but that's all just instinct based on, I look at him, just man to man, if I was in his locker room, how would I feel? And the fact is, you've got a massive fan base all feeling the same way. It's possible that the entire group of men in that locker room feel entirely differently than the entire group of men outside of the locker room who watch his speeches and cringe, but it's unlikely. We've had instincts about the offensive coordinator, and I keep trashing him and then coming back and saying, to be fair, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he's a great offensive coordinator. I don't know. I don't know what he does. I know nothing. I'd also like to remind everybody that we needed to keep Rich Bisaccia because, in the words of many people, including the GM, including the head coach, as well as some insider people, I know John Kuhn was one of them, saying, you guys don't understand just how unbelievably, I forget exactly what the term was, but it was, a very, very high level of respect for him. How beloved, I think, was the term, how beloved he is. This is a report card. For all intents and purposes, every single player on our team got a private ballot and was able to express their love and adoration for the different coaches and the assistant coaches. Here is what we came to. For head coach, Matt LaFleur, very highly loved and respected head coach, they gave him a B-. It's not the worst thing in the world, but to be clear, the average is a B. Actually, I'm sorry, it's a B+. A 3.44 GPA would put you in the B+ range. They gave him a B-. That is below the Minnesota head coach and how they feel. They gave him an A. In Chicago, they gave him an A. In Detroit, they gave him an A. In Green Bay, it's a B-. Even in our own division, he ranks 4th, and it's not close. The players do not respect Matt LaFleur anywhere near the level of those coaches. It's not even at an average level. Let's see, what was it, B-? So 1, 2, 3 teams were below that. Let's see, Las Vegas was a C+, but he got fired, and so he's replaced, so that's not a thing. The Chargers got a C+, that's pretty low. The Giants got a C, Cleveland got a C-, and he's gone. So there's like 2 current head coaches, or I can't even keep track of who's new here. Is it just the Chargers coach that got a C+, that's still kicking as the only coach? I mean, there's some ties. Actually, there's only one tie, and it's Tennessee. So he's one of the lowest graded head coaches in the NFL, especially when you factor in the coaches that are still remaining. If you remove the coaches that were, so the Tennessee coach who tied with him, who got fired, is not there. And Robert Saleh presumably will have a higher grade. I don't know that there's a current coach that had a lower grade, to be honest with you. The Chargers. So Jim Harbaugh is the only current active coach that got a lower grade than Matt LaFleur. That's it. So this is what I've been talking about, by the way. All this freaking lip service, all this little chitty chatter of all the, you got media people, you got insiders. No, he's very respected. He's all these things. You talk to the players about stuff and they go to the media and they're like, oh, no, he's our man. He's our guy. We respect him, all this stuff. You give him a freaking ballot and what happens? Again, actions compared to words. The words have been blah, 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 blah. And all I'm seeing is that our instincts have been correct the entire time. Matt LaFleur is currently, as rated by his own players, the second lowest graded active coach in the NFL. And we wonder if there's some kind of a leadership issue. Let's kind of skip around here a little bit. Some of these are I guess, kind of less interesting, but not really. Strength coaches. I mentioned strength coaches are like the most popular category of any. Everybody loves their strength coaches. The average GPA is a 3.73, which is an A-. I don't know if this is the exact scale they're using. I'm not really sure. But the Packers got a B. B is 3.0. The average is 3.73. Do you know how many teams graded worse than a B? Arizona B-, Pittsburgh B-. That's it. So our strength coaches, not so much. Do you know who our highest graded coach is? The average for this coordinator position is a 3.31, which is a B+. This person got an A-. That was Jeff Hafley, who is no longer with the organization. That was it, by the way. That's as good as it got, and he's gone. How about position coaches, just as a catch-all? This also was relatively good, because it still ends up being above average, although being a lower grade. The position coaches, which is your linebackers coaches, your DB coaches, etc., technically includes Butkus, but they're not independently graded, so you can't know who's the ones they like and who they don't. The position coach average is a 3.11. That's a B. Packers gave them a B+. So that's good. Where to go from here? Let's do the offensive coordinator. Again, we've had instincts that this is not a great situation. Don't really know because he's buried in there, so it's hard to have a firm opinion on anything. But it just doesn't feel like it's a thing that's going great. To be clear, this is the most hated position. I don't know why, but the average is a 2.88, which is a B-. But our offensive coordinator can't even clear that low bar and got a C. I don't know why everybody hates offensive coordinators. Maybe it's because the majority of coaches are offensive play callers, and so they're all viewed as just kind of do-nothings. I don't really know. It's an interesting question, to be honest. I mean, the defensive coordinator is a 3.31. Offensive coordinator average is a 2.88. But again, it's a low bar, and our guy couldn't clear it. Let's take a look at the division, by the way. Minnesota's offensive coordinator got an A-. Detroit got a C-, hilarious. Chicago, A-. Not even freaking close. We had a C. Barely better than the guy that took, by the way, the guy that replaced Ben Johnson, nobody's going to like that guy. You kidding me? Your offense just went to crap, and you're not Ben Johnson, and everybody knows it. And that's pretty close to the grade that we gave our offensive coordinator. In fact, only, from what I can see, 5 teams had a lower grade for their offensive coordinator. I don't know, guys. Is there a problem with our coaching staff? Is there a problem with Matt LaFleur and the way he's viewed in the locker room? Is there a problem with our offensive coordinator? Is there a problem here? Because we've all kind of felt that there was, and the players, maybe when not when asked directly, because they're on the record, but when they're asked privately, seem to indicate that they think that there's a problem. Now let's talk about my favorite one. Special teams coordinator. This is the most beloved man in the history of the world. Everybody loves him. You don't understand. It doesn't even matter how bad your special teams are because of what he provides in terms of just himself as a human being. If you understood how beloved this guy was in the locker room, you wouldn't be talking right now. So I'm assuming this is an A+, because there has never been a man that has provided more leadership. He is a father figure to the men in this locker room. The Packers were desperate to keep a man that put together a terrible special teams unit because of the man that he is. You don't understand, you stupid idiot fan. You sit there on your couch with your fat, stupid face, and you stuff your face full of potato chips, and you sit on your internets, and you type out your mean, hateful comments on the Twitters, and you say things, and you don't know what you're talking about, because if you knew, you wouldn't be talking. If you knew how much they loved and adored this man and what he provided to this team in terms of leadership, in terms of moral support, in terms of just, in terms of actual fatherhood to these men, you would never say anything about him again. Do you understand me, you coward, you low-life loser? A+ for special teams. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. That's Tennessee's special teams coordinator got an A+. I was looking in the wrong spot. And Jacksonville got an A+. But he probably got the next best grade, right? An A? Well, no, Seattle got an A, and Houston got an A. Detroit's special teams coordinator got an A. The Jets' special teams coordinator got an A. That's our old former player out there. Philadelphia's special teams coordinator got an A. But Rich Bisaccia did not. Okay, well, that's not great. I think we're outside of the top 10 now as far as most beloved coaches, just in terms of special teams, not even on the freaking team. Just special teams coaches. He's not even top 10. But A- then, right? No, that would be Pittsburgh. Their special teams coordinator got an A-. Carolina's special teams coordinator got an A-. The Chargers' special teams coordinator got an A-. New Orleans got an A-. Denver got an A-. They got that really good guy out there. Minnesota, another divisional rival, got an A-. And then Washington got an A-, but not Bisaccia, which is kind of weird. So B+ then? Yes. He got a B+, which is the average. A 3.36 is the average, which is a B+, which is what he got. The most beloved man in the history of the universe was not even close to the most highly rated guy in among this freaking thing. 50-some Packer players graded Rich Bisaccia and gave him a B+. A freaking average grade? The most beloved man in the history of the universe? We got position coaches that are beating average. We got a defensive coordinator beating average. He can't beat average. I mean, I'll give him credit because our head coach and our offensive coordinators were below average, well below average. But this man, who is the most loved man in the history of the universe, who was a father figure to all these people, he can't beat average? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams were ahead of Rich Bisaccia? How in the world are these you know how many fan bases don't know anything about their special teams coordinators? They don't get hyped up nearly as much as Rich Bisaccia. Nobody talks about their special teams coordinator. They don't really care. And by the way, they probably rank in the top 15. Nobody talks about, you don't understand, he's so beloved, blah, 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 blah. He's just there and he just does his freaking job. And he probably got an A- grade. And I got to hear this bull crap about this guy being the most beloved man in the history of the world, and 14 teams gave better grades in terms of how much they like their special teams coordinator. They don't even like the guy. Are you talking about LaFleur? Is it LaFleur that loves him? Is that what we're really talking about? Is that the honest truth? It's not that the players respect Matt LaFleur necessarily. It's that the people in the building like Matt LaFleur. It's not that the players like Stenavich. It's that Matt LaFleur likes Stenavich. It's not that the players like Rich Bisaccia. It's that the coaching staff likes Rich Bisaccia. Because if he's just like an average special teams coordinator in terms of how our players feel about him, when you ask, how do you feel about Bisaccia? They go, he's cool. And I've had years of having to listen to how much of an elite character person he is and how everybody loves and respects him like a father. What, because a couple guys do? Because this big mouth corner who says, I don't want to do kick returns anymore because I'm too good for that. I should be a number one corner, and then goes on to play bad football because, well, I guess it wasn't bad, it was fine, but because that guy loves him? Does he run the team? Is he the new Aaron Rodgers? What he says goes? Keyshawn Nixon now determines who our special teams coordinators are? Was he blackmailing you? What is this? Years of hemming and hawing and, well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand it, and I can't possibly fathom what Rich Bisaccia is doing that's so magical that he has to stay despite the terrible performance, but it must be something. And now the players came out on an actual survey and they go, I don't know. He's okay, I guess. Get him the hell out of here. Are you kidding me? At least with Matt LaFleur, it's like, okay, you know what? He's not the most respected guy in the world, but I think he does X, Y, and Z okay. And I think we can win with that. Fine, you can convince me of that. Our offensive coordinator needs to F off. Butkus needs to F off. I don't care anymore. Well, you don't know. You know what? I don't care. Because my instincts have been a hell of a lot more correct than all the bull crap you've been feeding me. So I want Stenavich either going back to offensive line coach or get him the hell out of here. I want Butkus off the team. We need a new offensive line coach. The special teams coordinator did the job you were supposed to do for you and walked out the door. The ugly chick dumped you. Please try to not screw up the next hire. Don't go hiring somebody because they're a nice guy and they're going to fit in with your culture. F your culture. Your culture sucks. Get a guy that's good at his job. And you know what? The team will respect him for that. How about we get back to respecting people because they're good at their freaking job? Not because they're high character people and they take you under your wing, and when you're having a bad day, they invite you over to supper with the family and they tell you, don't worry, pal, I'll always be there for you. Send him to a therapist if he needs that. I need a freaking special teams coordinator that can do the special teams. I'm just ticked off that I feel like they've just been lying. Either they're lying or they're in such an insular bubble that they don't know. Oh, no, he's so loved. He's so loved. He's so loved. You don't understand. We have to keep him because he's so loved. Do you talk to your players? I don't think that there's a very good relationship here because the coaches seem to think he's loved. Obviously, the coaches love him, and they believe the players love him, probably because a couple guys really do, and they don't really talk to a lot of their other guys, so they don't actually know the honest truth. This is the only way we find the honest truth, which is problematic in and of itself. There is no communication. There is no, hey, this is a problem. We have to wait for the report card to come out so that we can say, holy crap, what's going on here? Okay, well, we'll fix that for you. And you know what? Maybe the players should be more vocal. And if the coaches aren't willing to listen, then that's a problem. And I'm not saying that the players need to run the team. But you know what? If there's a combination of they're not doing their job and the players don't like you, then I think we found the perfect intersection here. Rich Bisaccia is that perfect intersection. I can't specifically speak to the offensive coordinator, but I'm done playing this stupid game where all of our instincts have been correct. And it's just like, well, you don't understand. You know what? I don't understand. But the best understanding I do have points me in a direction. I'm just going to run with it. And until you can actually say something cogent to me at the press conference, I'm just going to hold on to my opinion. Because you know what I hear when you go to the press conference? A whole bunch of bull crap. A whole bunch of, what are you going to do to fix the team? Well, we're still reviewing things. Okay, but what are you going to do? Well, we got to make some changes. Like what changes? Well, we're not actually going to make any changes, but, we got to review our process, and I don't want to hear that bull crap. Again, we heard that from Mike McCarthy, and he was even more so. You know what? This offense isn't working. We're going to tear down and rebuild this offensive playbook. We're going to bring in this guy, and we're going to work overtime, and we're going to tear this thing down. And you know what? It's like, I don't really believe that that's going to work, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, brother, because this offense isn't working. Your playbook sucks at this point, and it needs to be rebuilt. And he rebuilt the same damn playbook as he had before. There was not a single difference in that playbook, probably because it was very heavily Rodgers influenced, and also because Mike McCarthy really just knows what Mike McCarthy knows. It's unlikely he's going to be rebuilding a different playbook and a different scheme that he hasn't been running since '94. So, obviously what I say doesn't matter. They're not going to act on anything that I say. They're not going to actually change any of these things. And we're kind of left with where we were before, which is hopefully when everybody gets back healthy, things will get better. Hopefully our defensive coordinator will do a better job than Hafley did at, generating pressures and whatnot and doing things on the back end. Hopefully Gutekunst will do a better job in this draft despite not having a first-round pick, which complicates things and gives me less reason to believe that that's going to happen. Hopefully we can be impactful in free agency, although this is not a good free agent class and we don't have a massive amount of money to do many things, especially if we're not going to release people like Banks, which we should do because we should not have brought him in the first place, and we should rectify that situation by letting him leave, but we're not going to. And so, okay, fine. I guess we'll just continue on with our bad decisions. We are on a slide here, moving from, a good team that just doesn't get it done to irrelevancy. And if we take a couple more steps, we are down in the laughingstock territory. That you just do things the wrong way and people mock you for it. The way you handle things, the way you've botched things, the way you've gone about things the wrong way, the way you've missed opportunities, the way that you have hired and fired improperly, that way you've drafted or done free agency improperly, it's all just kind of a laughing joke. And if you start going down that road, you become a joke. And it's annoying that I'm going to say the same thing again as I said last year, but this is a very, very big year. And yes, if everybody gets injured again, I can't properly really evaluate anything. I know a lot of people are going to be out and all that kind of stuff. I just, it's not a fair analysis. There's going to be some injuries, but bro, there's high expectations for this team, and those I'm just tired of coming so far under expectations. Do you know what other people could do with this roster? Do you know what other people are doing with lesser rosters? Do you know how many defenses were performing at a higher level that didn't have Micah Parsons on it? There's so many things that I've given the benefit of the doubt on that I'm now looking at going, maybe you're just all freaking incompetent, like at the highest levels. And I'm trying not to go all the way into that direction. But I'm kind of just sitting here going, show me something, man. Show me anything. I mean, the freaking Matthew Golden thing, even the GM, Gutekunst, was like, yeah, it would have been nice if he got more opportunities. It just didn't really pan out that way. Which, by the way, that is a perfect why. I want an answer. I mean, seriously. I know it's uncomfortable. And I know there's probably something in there you don't want to say. But freaking... Oh, I guess it's not my obligation to know the information. But again, if you want to protect either Golden or Jordan or yourself because of your play designs or whatever it is you're protecting, there's something in there that doesn't make sense, then I don't have the information I need to make an informed opinion, and so all I can do is go with the most likely opinion. And that most likely opinion has strayed away from the incompetence factor, and that there is something competent in this. Probably something to do with Matthew Golden not quite being where he needs to be. But as I continue to see things being handled the way that they're being handled, something as simple as firing Rich Bisaccia as being completely not understood properly, the way that the offensive line has been so mishandled, the way that coaching situation seems to have been so mishandled. I don't think it's super far-fetched at this point to say he was our best wide receiver on the team, and we just decided not to put him decided not to make him the top guy, which sounds so stupid. I don't even want to say the words. What would cause? I mean, it's stupid. But I don't know. I don't freaking know at this point. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. I needed to get that off my chest. Like I said, as soon as I saw the grades, and it didn't get better whoever put this chart together, I appreciate, but compiled and calculated by Dennis Selman at DENIZSELMAN 33. So appreciate the work that he did to do this. He or she, I can't. Looks like a he. Very on the fence there. But anyways, folks, I will talk to you tomorrow. Let me check real quick. I think I already gave a shout out to Foster Love, maybe 2017. Appreciate you joining up on the Patreon. I'm gonna put up something in regards to what we talked about today on there, just to kind of compile some of the information. But appreciate your support. Patreon.com/pack_daddy, or if you'd prefer, you can subscribe to my big board. I'm gonna try to spend. I don't have to go to the gym today, so I have a little extra time. I'm gonna try to hurry up and get these podcasts done so I can spend the day updating that big board a little bit, getting all the scouting reports in, trying to get some of the combine data in. So hopefully I'll just turn the combine on the TV in the background and do some data entry today for you guys. So I appreciate everyone supporting me on that. But again, the biggest way you can support, just keep listening, keep on coming back. Sorry if negativity is not your thing, but I people that have been around a long time know that it's although it sounds like a positive podcast, it's not a positive podcast. It's just I'm just trying to understand what's true. And unfortunately, I've kicked over to the other side where I feel like what's true is not good. And doesn't mean I know. Absolutely could be wrong, and I absolutely could be proved wrong and all that stuff. It's just, where am I at on what makes the most sense? And I just keep getting kicked in the other direction by the team's actions and decisions and words and everything else. And now the players' own words. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.